So as many of you know, I mess with engines and all sorts of mechanical stuff. Anything from chainsaws clear up to bulldozers. Even looked at an airplane one time. And so a buddy of mine, old family friend, calls me up and he's like, hey, I've got a chainsaw, I've been having issues with it. It's only a couple of years old. Would you mind looking at it? At least let me know whether or not you have any interest in checking it out. I'm like, yeah, I'll look at it. I don't know if I can do anything with it, but I'll check it out. So we went and got it off of him. It's a MS391 Stihl. And he says it won't start. Customer states it won't start. And when it does start, it'll run just fine until it doesn't, and then it won't start again. Okay, let's look at it. So on first inspection, I'd have to say that it doesn't have any gas in it, so we're going to remedy that. But I know that he's smarter than that. So what we're going to do is I always use non-ethanol gas, that Rec 90 gas. Use that whenever possible, because that ethanol will just tear up your fuel system. It absorbs water, and it's just... And on 2 strokes, always use a good quality oil, synthetic of some sort would be a good way to go. But there we go. We've got some non-ethanol mixed gas in there. I already checked the oil. Let's take a look at this chain quick. And the reason I'm showing you guys this chain is because I just had to chuckle. I don't know if you can see it. Buddy, you've got the chain on backwards. I'm gonna have to bust your chops over that one. That's funny. You got the chain on backwards. So let's start by flipping this chain around. We'll give this a cleaning while we have it apart. He's got a burr on his bar there too, so we're gonna dress his bar before he gets it back. We'll fix that burr right up. So something I want to show you guys here quick. You see this bluing here? Now, some of that's just from use, but something that exasperates that is when you run your chain too tight, which I'll show you how to properly tension a chain in a little bit. Another thing that can cause it is not enough oil flow, and I'll show you how to help that right now. So what I do is I take and you can use a scraper, you can use maybe a fine screwdriver or something, or a pick. But one of my favorite ways to do it is to use an air compressor. You want to start back here. I don't know if you can see it, but that little hole, that's plugged. That one's got some dirt in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to blow it out with the air compressor with the fluffer, the blow gun. Now, as far as burrs are concerned, which just happened from using a chainsaw, your bar burrs, a good way to knock the burrs off is a flat bastard file. You just take and run it about a 45-degree angle or so. You just run across there, knock the burrs off. Wear gloves, it can be really sharp. If you ever see a pro arborist or logger or somebody that's running their saw with the name of the bar upside down, it's because they're just, every time they take the chain off, they flip the bar over to try to even the wear out on the bar. Because usually you're cutting downward, right? So then it wears primarily on the side that you're cutting on. If you flip it over, you get twice as much wear out of the bar, theoretically. Another good thing to do, and you can see it's a little bit cleaner, I took the blowgun while I had the air compressor out, and I blew all the crap out of there too, out of the clutch area. I'll do this cover before we're all done. But we'll go ahead and we'll stick this back on here. I'm going to put it on upside down because it looks like the heaviest wear is on this side right now. And where's our chain at? You want to make sure that the cutters, I don't know if I can, you want to make sure that they point that direction on the top, because it goes this direction on every chainsaw that I've ever seen, and they cut in this direction. This saw really doesn't look like it's had that much use. I don't know if he's just kept it really clean, or, I mean, judging by like the sprocket wear and stuff, I'd be inclined to say that he really doesn't have that many hours on this saw. Which is concerning, because why is he having issues with it already? I blew this out a little bit, just like I said I would. And it's lined up with the hole. We're gonna go ahead and stick this cover back on here now. There we go. Now when you're putting these nuts on, you only just run them basically finger tight until you've got your chain adjusted, and then you snug them down. You know, make sure nothing's bound up. And now one of the easiest ways to do this, is to just lift on the tail of the saw so that the bar, there's a little bit of play in the bar. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's a little play there. Want to make sure that we're just barely snug. And then we get in our adjuster there and we start tightening the chain up. What we're watching for is for that light to just disappear. I'll show you how it's supposed to act. See, there's light there. Now snug this down. By the way, if you're new to chainsaws, this tool I'm using is called a scrunch. Screwdriver, wrench, scrunch. Most new chainsaws will come with one. See, it's not tight. It's just got a little bit of snap to it. Something you can do, and you'll probably have to do it again once you started the saw and ran it around once. But that's about where you want it. It's not too tight. It moves free. Like I said, watch these edges and your blades. This can all be sharp. Also, the tension on these nuts here, I've seen guys actually break this cover because they were tightening stuff down too tight. Choke up on this wrench like this. Get right up against it. And then you just, you know, you don't got to go Hercules on this. You choke way up on the wrench and just give it a, you know, just a little more than snug is all you want. Now that the chain's pointing the right direction, let's go ahead and take this thing off of here, and we're gonna just confirm that we're gonna see if it'll start. If it'll start, maybe we'll go out and cut a little bit and shut it off and restart it and see if we're gonna try to replicate what the customer's complaining about. So as you can see here, we're just gonna go down to, this switch does everything. So there we're off, on, probably gotta pull the trigger to do this, and choke. That's full choke, half choke, and then you pull the trigger to just go to run. So there we're at full choke. This saw does have a compression release. So the compression is released. We already showed that we put gas in it. Okay. There we're in half choke. started. Now, if you look here, you'll notice I've got a little bit of slop in the chain now. You can adjust that back out, or you can leave it like that. A lot of guys will try to tell you that you cut your leg off or something if it's like that, and I've been using saws for years, and I just have not found that to be the case. However, for the sake of that one guy that manages to throw chains left and right because he's probably got a bent bar or something, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to readjust the chain. Like I said, we hold it forward, then we just there we go. I'm going to return this with a freshly ground and sharpened chain when I send it back to him. But before I go out and cut to try to replicate what he's saying that it's doing, I am going to put I'm just going to hit it with a quick little all-in-one file, just one pass to make sure that it will even cut. These are kind of cool. So they got it stamped in the thing. You can see the outline of the saw. So you want that pointing back toward the saw. And then this direction's for your left side cutters. Then you flip it over and it shows it the same thing with an arrow for going the other direction. So we're set up that way the correct way, the arrow. One more thing I wanted to show you guys before we go out and cut. Any of your bigger saws, most of them are going to have this if they're carbureted. Now the fuel injected models, I can't speak on those because I don't work on those. But this little thing here, you'll see that there's a cover that opens up. One side's got, can we get it to focus? One side's got a snowflake on it. The other side's got a sun on it. That's warm weather operating and cold weather operating. This is winter mode to keep your carburetor from freezing up. So you put that in there just the way it came out. Snowflake up on this one. Now, on my old Husqvarna over here, now this one's broke, but they've got one too. It just looks different. So. But a lot of your better saws will have a summer mode and a winter mode, and what it does is it just catches a little bit of engine heat and shoots it into the carburetor area to keep the ice out. So far, I can't figure out why it won't. I can't get it to do what he's saying it's doing. So even after cutting, what would that be, 2/3, 3/4 of that pile, hit the dirt a couple times, dulled the chain, but I'll straighten that out. But I can't find anything wrong with that saw. It might be, he might have had carburetor icing issues because he had it flipped the other way for the summer use. Maybe it's something with his oil, his gas mix that he's running. I don't know. But anyhow, we'll go in, we'll clean the saw up, and I'll finish this up with a different saw. We'll clean the saw up and get it sent back to him.